Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. Today we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, and this is the first in 3 videos, so do stick around over the next few days, but let's talk today about your expectations. Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. I'm here with Knitting Natter to help you learn to knit the easy way. And I'm nattering about New Year's resolutions today because we all like to set goals and ideals for ourselves when we're knitting, and what are the next challenges that you can think about when you're knitting as well. This is a great time to set a resolution, but indeed if you want to watch these videos in 3 months' time and start a resolution then why not? So today we are talking about expectations. When we think about knitting and we think about moving on to the next step or setting ourselves a challenge, then are these challenges that we're setting for ourselves realistic? Should be the first thing that you think about. Are you a brand new beginner knitter and you want to knit Fair Isle socks? Is that realistic? Or are there a few stages you need to go through first before Fair Isle socks becomes your thing? You could be knitting Fair Isle socks in 6 months' time, but if you go set out tomorrow to start knitting Fair Isle socks when you've only just learnt the knit stitch, then you could well be in trouble. Let's get these expectations somewhat more ideal. First thing I'm going to think about is tools. You're going to go out January the 1st and go, yeah, I'm going to start knitting and I need double pointed needles and fine weight yarn and I don't have either. That means I can't knit today, I've failed. Well, that's no good. Let's put those expectations in place. Let's put those tools in place so that it's part of your resolution. The first week could be searching out the right yarn, searching out the pattern, looking for the right tools, going to the yarn shop next weekend to decide what I knit next. Just make sure that you don't say, I have to knit every single day from January the 1st, otherwise I'm a complete failure, because then, you won't like yourself and you may give up knitting altogether. So tools are going to be extremely important. If you want to do a particular thing with your knitting, do you have the right tools, the right yarn? Do you have the right needles? Do you have the right knitting accessories like a cable needle or a stitch holder that you actually need to go through this next pattern that you're giving yourself as a challenge and through it quite easily? Now the second thing you need to think about is the jargon, the abbreviations in the pattern, the words that are used in the pattern. And if you're hoping that you will step from learning the knit and the purl stitch, maybe you've done some ribbing, maybe you've switched up the knit and purl stitch a little bit to do some interesting textures, to suddenly learn 6 new abbreviations in this next pattern to do this fantabulous lace shawl, then maybe that's one step too far too fast. Because actually this is the most common email I get. It's, I don't understand this pattern, can you help me? And I can only help so far because a lot of the time it's a little snippet from the pattern. I can only see so much. I can't see where you might have gone wrong because I'm not looking at your knitting with you. So it is a case of making sure that this might be an absolute pinnacle. You may have found it in a magazine, oh, I desperately want to knit this. Then it may be that you're not quite ready to knit that. When you're looking at patterns and you're deciding what to knit next, look at the abbreviations, look at the words that are used throughout the pattern and go, there's a couple of new things in that, that's not too much of a challenge, I can move on to that step. But if there's far too many new things to learn in this pattern that you've picked up, then say, well, that's for 3-6 months' time, I'll find some mini steps that will go towards that. And then 6 months' time, that pattern will feel a lot easier than it does now. That's the ideal thing. Just take one step at a time. Everything in knitting, it is one step at a time, and I do feel that that makes your life a lot easier, and you're much more likely to succeed and much less likely to give up knitting because it all went completely wrong. So the third thing today is all about how you're going to learn these new skills. What learning tools do you have in place? Do you have 3 new knitting books for Christmas and you're going to find them so helpful? There's a dictionary, there's one with lots of photographs, there's one that's just so inspiring because of all the patterns in it, but also what are the stories in between written by the author about how she learnt to knit and how sometimes it does go wrong. So you're feeling that that one's actually going to really help you as well. That could be your learning tool? Have you decided to join maybe one of my courses? So you feel that those steps that take you through in those courses will help you grow in your knitting much faster than you may do by trying to pick up a pattern and learning from little videos occasionally or from your friend down the road. Do you have a workshop that you know you'd like to sign up for? Is there a workshop at your yarn shop maybe for the next 10 weeks every Saturday afternoon? You're going to go down there, everything will be fine, and that will really help you take one step at a time. Maybe the other learning tool you might have is actually someone sitting right by your side, someone in your family who says, I don't mind helping you, I'll teach you how to knit. She's got all of the skills that you'd like to have, and she's a really great teacher as well. Listens to you, understands when things go wrong, and is more than helpful and patient with you when you learn other new things. So maybe that is a way to go. Maybe those learning tools need to be in place. Do you have a course to go through? Do you have workshops? Do you have books? Or do you have someone to help you as you learn these new steps and as you move through into your New Year's resolution? That's a whole bundle of expectations that you need to think about. Do you have the tools? Do you know the jargon? And do you have the learning tools as well to move you into knitting and to get you going with knitting so that it's an easier ride? New Year's resolutions can get you so far. It's that one intention at the beginning of the year, but you have to put those little plugs in place to say, I am getting there, and it's easier for me to continue with this because of the way I've set it up. So get those expectations right, and you will be knitting this time next year, not just for the next 2 weeks. Great, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again soon. In fact, I will see you in 2 days' time. I will be back on the 29th with the next video. And indeed, I will be back 2 days after that with the third video, all on the New Year's resolution for knitting theme. I do hope I'll see you for then. Bye for now. Happy knitting.